If you've ever looked at a risograph print and thought to yourself, why does this look so good? And also nothing like my home printer. This is why. Riso ink is not toner. It's not normal inkjet ink. And if you treat it like either of those, the colors will fight you. And I learned that really quickly because the first risograph printer that I ever printed on was my old roommate's machine that lived in our studio garage. It was really temperamental, we only had two colors, and troubleshooting that thing was completely different than troubleshooting a home printer. It was fussy, it was weird, and it was also really fun. And there was one moment from printing in that garage that completely changed how I thought about Riso ink. And I'll tell you about what happened in a little bit. Riso is laying down wet spot color ink, and that ink sets mainly by being absorbed into the paper. And just that one fact explains so much. It explains why Riso feels a lot more tactile, why paper matters so much, why heavy ink coverage can get really weird really fast, why prints smudge more easily than people might expect, and why the same file can behave completely differently depending on what stock you use. Also with risograph printing, you have access to a huge array of different ink colors. Not just RGB on your screen or CYMK on your home printer. And this is why the colors can feel so alive and dynamic and so hard to reproduce on your home printer. The printer makes a master, which is basically a stencil with tiny holes in it. That master gets wrapped around an ink-filled drum, and as the drum spins, ink gets pushed through those tiny openings onto the paper. And for multicolor printing, each color gets printed separately, one pass at a time. So if I'm printing yellow, fluorescent pink, aqua blue, and black, those colors are not being invisibly blended inside the machine. They are being laid down as separate physical layers. And once you start to really understand that, risograph printing starts to make a lot more sense. Because now you're not asking yourself, why doesn't this print match what was on my screen? Instead, you're asking yourself, how are these actual layers going to interact with each other on the paper? A home printer is usually hiding the printing process from you. You press print, and ideally everything comes out smooth and clean and predictable. That is not what the risograph printing process feels like. So a beginner mindset that I would avoid is, I pick these colors digitally, so that is the color that I'm gonna get. Here's a better mindset. I am choosing physical inks that are going to interact with each other, with the master and the paper. This is where Riso printing gets really magical. Most Riso inks are transparent or semi-transparent, which means that they can overlap and create new colors. So now you're not just choosing pink and blue. You're choosing what happens when those layers of pink and blue overlap. And one of my earliest favorite examples of this was accidental. Back in 2017, my roommate changed the ink in one drum from fluorescent pink to purple. And during that transition period from pink to purple, while the machine was moving the pink out and the purple in, it was creating these really beautiful striped transition prints. And I became obsessed with that because suddenly there was this third in-between color living inside the process. And even though we had two real colors in our garage studio, the federal blue and the pink, I was able to make work that I loved because of this transitional third color. Riso ink does not always obey you, and it can surprise you in ways that are way more interesting than you planned. I think that the neon pink is incredible, and fluorescent pink is one of those colors that home printers cannot really simulate well. And when you pair it with something like a blue, you get these gorgeous purple colors that you can't get any other way. And so the blue and the fluorescent pink combo is one of my favorites. This is another place where a lot of beginners might get surprised. Because the Riso inks are translucent, the paper is not passive. And what I mean by that is that the paper is part of the final color. If you print on blue paper, that blue is now part of the palette. And I learned that really clearly when I printed on blue paper using dark blue and white ink. In my head, I thought that the ink would pop way more than it did, but ultimately it didn't make a huge impact. And that was a good reminder that when you're printing on colored stock, You can't think of the paper as a neutral background. You have to think of it as another color in the composition. And that's also true when you're printing on white paper. And sometimes we forget that because we see the white paper as the default, but the white paper is still part of the print, and you're still composing your artwork with it. I really like Nina's vellum paper in their 67-pound text version. It has been consistently reliable for me, and it gives me the cleanest results and is not too fussy in the machine. I've definitely liked using thicker paper in the past because the prints end up feeling a lot more substantial and luxurious in your hand. But I've also had thicker stocks cause paper jams in the machine and just slow the process down so much. And then they made the whole print job kind of miserable. So in those moments with the paper jams, I really had to choose between what felt more romantic and ideal and what actually works well and is practical. So Nina has been that paper for me. My own Riso work leans more towards a CMYK feeling to it. So the inks that I usually work with are yellow, fluorescent pink, aqua, and black. Not because Riso is CMYK, it's not. But because those ink colors give me a familiar logic while still letting the Riso printing process do its weird, beautiful Riso thing. My prints get better and the process becomes more fun when I let Riso just be Riso. When I allow the transparency of the inks to do its thing, the prints get richer. When I respect the paper, I'm smarter with my time. And when I stop trying to make every file ultra saturated, the prints often look much better. Because more ink is not automatically better. Sometimes more ink means more smudges, muddiness, and more likely to make the machine unhappy. And for me, the black ink is the best example of overusing an ink. Working with black can be a little bit tricky. It is the darkest, heaviest ink color, and it can completely change the overall feel of the artwork once it prints. And sometimes that's exactly what you want. But sometimes using too much black can make the whole image feel heavy or muddy in a way that you didn't intend. I've known artists who use brown instead of black just to soften the overall feeling of the piece. And I totally get why. And if you print Riso, let me know what your favorite color combination is. And if you want to see how all of this plays out in actual real artwork, watch this video next, and I show you my exact process from file prep and Photoshop all the way to printing, how I created my print curiosity. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!